Trying to figure out where my live is. There it is. There we go. Can we please? There we go. Okay. Hang on now. Holy shit. Alright. Got it. Trying to like... There we go. Okay. Yep, live on Christmas. Surprise. I know I've been gone for a while. I have been horribly, horribly depressed. My room is a mess because of that. It's very embarrassing. You guys will never see my room because of that. It's gross in here. But fucking, I mean, it's Christmas. And so it's pretty damn easy to be depressed during this time. And I feel like, you know, I don't know. I always feel like everyone gets fucking... Also, hey, Rocky's here. Hey, Stoner, what's going on, dude? Cherry, Mastermind, what's going on, guys? But yeah, basically, I'm like, a lot of us traumatized for one reason or another. Probably don't have a Merry Christmas, Rocky. Many of us don't really have families, so I'm like, all right, go and do a little live stream. Go hang out for a bit. And like, again, it's like, it's Christmas, so I don't want to like exclusively talk about narcissism, so literally, we can talk about anything. Oh my gosh. Guys, my niece is fucking adorable. I'm like, so it makes me upset. I'm like, man, I like her way too much. I never thought I would like somebody like that. She's so I was saying, yeah, same, good plebeian, I got you. But yeah, like, she's cute as hell. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you may see me post a little story about her, because she's just awesome. I don't know, she like smiles at me, and like, people say she looks like me. I don't know about that though. I don't understand when people are like, oh man, like that baby looks like this person. I'm like, I am a grown man, not a baby. How do I look similar to them at all? Been better, plebeian, been better. But we move on, we trudge forward. Yes, the chat is live, Emma. At least I think so. It should be. Holy. Hello, Will. How's it going? But yeah, guys. Give me a topic. I'll rant about anything. I am a genius after all. I know everything. Hello. What the fuck? Fuck. I don't have plans for New Year's. Well, I don't have any official plans for New Year's. One of my exes, me and her like friends, and she usually does something, and so I'll probably go to that. But I don't know yet. Pepsi versus Coke. Coke, hands down. If you choose Pepsi, you're wrong. If you like, my mom, like I loved pop growing up. Like I like would drink it all the time, and my mom would like be like would only buy Pepsi, and I was like, and like I always just craved Coke, and so basically I'm just like sick of Pepsi for the rest of my life. And then when I went to Kent, when I went to college, they also only had Pepsi there. Really sucked. Pepsi is kind of blows. I am not in a relationship at the moment now. I'm at a point where I'm kind of, because like, okay, so this is interesting because like, I thought I was like, you know, you guys see how like, you know, self-aware I am. I hate saying that because it sounds so like, I don't know. I don't think anybody is all completely self-aware ever, right? But like, I was damn confident, and I was, and like, yeah, I thought I was right, but I wasn't. But like, it was like, it's a little bit different because it's like, I feel like I've addressed a lot of my triggers or what makes me like lash out or like be really symptomatic, but that was only in certain relationships, right? And every person is different, and they're going to have different triggers for me. And I kind of assumed that since I had fixed so many of those triggers with so many different people, I was like, oh, that's all of them, more or less. Oh my god. Paganism. I mean, what kind of paganism? There's Germanic paganism, there's Hellenistic paganism, there's Slavic paganism. I don't remember what the Baltic paganism? Is that what it's called? It's called something else. I don't remember what it is though. I actually used to be a pagan back in the day. I out there worshiping Odin and shit. I remember like making a sacrifice to like, I don't remember what her name was. Fuck, what was the name? Like the goddess of love in Germanic paganism. What the hell was it called? I do find paganism interesting purely on the basis though of like let's say that you're a pagan, right? And let's say you were like lived in ancient Greece and you worship the Greek gods, but then like you go down to Egypt and they're like, this is our patron god of the city. And then they're going to be like, and like, you know, you would expect them to kind of be like, your gods are fake, it's only our gods. But like, they just kind of accepted all other gods as part of like a separate pantheon, more or less. It's like, oh yeah, everybody has their own gods, but like these are the ones that we worship, basically. It's really interesting. Yeah, Coke is only good when there's alcohol in it, hands down. I don't even like it. Well, wait, Coke is only good when there's alcohol in it? Disagree. I kind of hate. Well, I don't hate it, but I just prefer Coke, generally speaking. I could talk about my favorite dinosaur. There's not much to talk about it. Spinosaurus. Those guys are awesome. Yeah, what kind of Coke, right? I don't like cocaine when there's alcohol in it. That's the most cursed thing ever. It's like fucking wet cocaine when I'm snorting. That would suck. I did not put up a Christmas tree, actually. I just have not had the energy for it, and also I hate putting up Christmas trees. I hate it. Also, I might miss some comments, because I just remembered I have to go change something in my settings. Hello, Narcissist Hex. Lord Skidmore. That, I didn't say that with any context, but I'm like, I was thinking about like titles today. I wish I could like show you guys things like on the live. Like I just don't know how to like basically cast my computer onto it, which kind of sucks. Like I want to show you guys, like I have this ancestor named Thomas Skidmore, and he was fucking, this dude was like, I was like, oh, this is where I get all my craziness from. And he was like a proto-communist, and he's like super interesting. I might read it, but it's going to kind of suck. Cherry, are you there? I have a proposition for you. Trying to figure something out though. Sound kind of low. I've been kind of low. I am what it is. What it is. I'm like I'm not in a bad mood right now, which is like nice. I need to. God. Cherry, tell me if you're there. If you're not, I'm gonna be upset. You abandoned me. I mean, holidays are rough, Narcissist Hex. It's like it sucks. But I mean, honestly, it's especially weird now because like one second. Okay, there we go. But anyways. But yeah, it's kind of weird now because it's like I have a shitty family. Well, at least I have. But like they're all working on themselves, and like it's gotten to a point where I feel like I'm the most toxic one in my family, and like it really messes with my head sometimes. It is what it is though. Hello, Sage Wisdom. Happy holidays to you too. Anyways, online therapist that's familiar with NPD. I think Mark Edenson, Heal NPD on YouTube, I think he has like some resources for, like he has like recommendations of therapists. I'm not sure though. I know he does, but he doesn't care. He doesn't think about me with his actions. Par for the course. Why would you hoover an ex for a year? personally, I wouldn't, because I wouldn't want to look pathetic. But I don't know. If you broke up with him, I can see why. Because it's like, well, like for me, if somebody breaks up with me, I get like obsessive about it, where I'm like, oh man, I feel worthless now. Oh, he broke up with you. So then that's just probably just part of the like for me, it's like really hard for me to let people go. This is something I'm like really struggle to understand. Also, wait, guys, does my face look fat? Like, I need to ask this because I've been so paranoid about it recently. Ugh. Anyways, but I just have like a really hard time letting people go. I don't know why. Hey, Christine. Christine, nice to see you. yeah, I kind of impulsively did this. I was thinking about doing it, but I wasn't sure. How did you enjoy spending time with your niece? I love them. Like, my niece is so fucking awesome. It's so stupid. But I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. I just like her. It's really hard for me to explain because I'm not used to it at all. And she like just smiles at me. I'm just like thinking, like I fed her today, which was like I gave her bottle, and I was like, that's nice. And then she was in her little, I don't know what to call it, like a little bit of she was in like a little rocker, and like I would look at her, and when I would look away, she would like, and stop paying attention to her, she would like whine. I'd look back at her, and she'd like just smile really big and like do weird movements, and I was like, oh, I don't know, it made me really happy. It's weird. 20 years, yeah, Emma, like I don't let go of people. Like there's people from high school I still think about nowadays because it's that hard for me to let go of people. Exes less so, if I'm being honest, but like especially like with friends, it was a lot like that. But it's like if I broke up with an ex, well, no, like even like no, I literally think about my exes. Like I think about like anybody who's left my life like so much. It's crazy. You are hard to forget. Love it. That's the kind of confidence we need. See, we all need to be like hyping each other up. Instead of me fixing my grandiosity, you guys get to be included in my grandiosity. Oh my gosh. I'm glad I look fine. I don't know, just like I feel, just recently I've been like, I've put on like 20 pounds in the past year because like I just have been a mess. And I'm like I'm so anxious about it. I'm like, oh my god, I look like shit. Oh, 20 years. Oh, never mind. He was hard. Oh, okay. Oh, wait, Emma, that's what you're referring to. Okay. He actually was quiet and apologized. He was hard to read, regardless of 20 years. Abused me. He was really quiet and apologized. I mean, that sounds like you had, like, a good experience with it. I mean, I don't see why that would be a bad thing. Anyways. Merry Christmas, Thomas. Thanks so much. Yeah, thank you. I'm trying out here. I haven't seen you in months. You look the same. That helps. Okay. That does help, honestly. Because, like, oh my god, you guys I have been just obsessively comparing old photos of myself to, like, recent photos of myself. Just, like, looking at every difference. It's so rough. No problem. Merry Christmas to you, too. Sorry I can't give you a little bit more insight there. It's just, I mean, it's like, as long as you keep strong boundaries, like, I don't see how it would be a bad thing, in my opinion. But who knows? I'm the narcissist, so. You've been lurking since the first stream. Merry Christmas to you too, dude. Or Dudette. Dudette is a fucking weird word. Hello, so. How do you feel about smoking weed? I hate it. I don't hate it. It's just, I don't. But let me put it this way. I'd rather be drunk any day. I'll like go, like I'll smoke some weed and I'll just be like really on edge. Like when I drink, like it absolves a lot of my anxiety. I don't get that with weed, like period. It can be fun, don't get me wrong. And then I get hangovers from weed. I know that sounds insane, but like I literally do. Like it will put me on my ass. I've never met anybody else that gets that. Merry Christmas, Donna. Merry Christmas. Oh man. What about shrooms? I feel like you getting high makes me introspect so much about mistakes. Drunk is awesome. Yeah, I don't think, because I get anxious when I'm smoking weed, but I don't feel like I do much introspection. I guess I do a little bit, but like it's so easy for me to get, and honestly, now I'm thinking about it, it might be partially due to my ADHD. I don't know. I don't get positive things with it. So I will never stop putting myself down. All I do is put myself down because I'm a neurotic piece of shit. Because I don't think, let me put it this way, I'm not like, I want to call myself a bad person because I'm a narcissist, but I do just kind of feel like well, here's the thing, is that like, okay, so here's a theory that I have. So I don't think I've ever talked about this, but like, I think I have this theory about lenses. I feel like everyone has some belief system in their life that they view the entire world through. And I feel like a lot of the decisions that people make can get dictated by that. Like, for example, let's say that you're like very political, and you're very passionate about, I don't know, let's say gender identity, just as an example. Like, you're going to be viewing basically every conflict that you see through that lens, right? Hence why, like, you see a lot, like, some people will talk about, like, oh, like, you know, they'll attribute very wild things to, like, the patriarchy. And maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I'm not really that interested in it, so I have no idea. But I feel like it's very hard for people to be aware of that. For example, I think my lens, right now at least, is personality pathology. I see a conflict between two people, my immediate thought is, what, like, personality disorder traits are they showing? And, like, so when I say, like, well, I'm a narc, so I try to be, thank you, by the way. When I say something like that, I'm thinking, okay, when I say something like that, it's just me being, like, aware of the fact that I do have my biases and how I view things. Not so much of me being like, I'm a terrible person because I'm a narcissist. I'm a terrible person for other reasons. I hope that made sense. I don't know why I'm like not so with it today. I'm so anxious all the time. Blah. I will say, yeah, Mastermind. So Mastermind, I used to have a med card actually for my PTSD, because after, like, I was having like a horrible time sleeping after I worked at the prison. And so I got a med card. Well, I was given a med card by my therapist, which was neat. But I still kind of hated it, so I didn't really keep it. But what is it? Is it Sativa? That's the, like, upper one, not upper, but like more of a, like, up high, if that makes sense. And then there's, what is it? Indigo. And I had much better experiences with that. The one that was like much more of like a downer. Indica. That's it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, both. Yeah. Everyone's like, no, it's indica. Sorry, God, I'm trying over here. Been smoking weed regularly and used to get hangovers in the beginning. Had some bad panic attacks from it. I got influenced out drinking, but fell off the wagon today. That, Rocky, that kind of sucks though. I mean, cheers, but also, I'm sorry. Yeah, you feel like you can't breathe. No, like, I get the same shit with weed. I don't like it. Hello, Jeremiah. Jeremiah is such an awesome name, by the way. I don't know why. It's just a name I've always been like, that's the coolest thing ever. That's awesome. Thomas, do you remember things that you view as mistakes? Yeah, constantly. Like, if I make a mistake, it's gonna haunt me for years. And, like, I never really, well, because here's the thing, like, for example, when I worked at Northwestern. I was like I made a minor mistake one. Okay, so when I worked at Northwestern, I had to do not cold calls, but effectively cold calls to like basically get clients. Like I still think about it to this day of like one of the times that I was rejected. Like it just, I hate it. I hate it so much. And like that day, I was put out of commission. Basically, I was like, I went home and cried. I didn't cry, but like I hid. Like I couldn't face anybody because I was so humiliated. Ugh. Anyways. 103 sativa? Jesus. I can imagine you lose your words. Don't do drugs, kids. Come on. Gray lizard, yes. We're talking about drugs. Most people who work with narcotics are ones that do not think they have it, and they feel just better. What's wrong with that? Insight was hard to know that you are. No, because like for me, I was just kind of like, fuck yeah, I'm a narcissist. I'm a master manipulator. I'm awesome. It never really bothered me, honestly. And like, Emma, I think you're kind of right. I think that like more of them have insight than most people would assume. Like, I think that like a lot of them probably know something is wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong. I justified it to myself, thinking I was smart and everybody for so long. But I think they probably have more insight than a lot of people think, though. But they don't want to like. I don't know. I felt like everyone else was pretending too, is a thing. But they're just like, what we do. But you told me to take your meds. I'm sorry, giving mixed signals. Okay, do drugs, fine. Oh, wait. Fine, do drugs. Do drugs for mental health. To medicate. That's so funny. Sorry if I'm a little boring today, by the way, or like kind of all over the place. Lost on my mind. I feel like people with NPD cannot tell me how they truly feel. It's like the shame catches your vulnerability in your throat. It's I remember having taught like I'm a lot better at it now. But like I remember like talking to people and just like wanting to say something vulnerable or like affectionate, and it's like I literally like couldn't say it. It was so bizarre. It always is so bizarre. Yeah, they often don't know how they feel. I don't. Ever. I work with trauma and get a lot of BPD, NPD, and NPD are the hardest ones because that's what's going on. Interesting. Question, like, are there other personality disorders other than NPD and BPD that you think, like, also have a very hard time accepting it? Because I feel like I see people with, like, OCPD having a similar amount of denial. Maybe not denial, but, like, accepting the world isn't the way that it is. And ASPD, too, I would say, actually. Does knowing you're a narcissist help you apologize to people more easily? Not really. It's more of like, it's like, let me put it this way, I'm more willing to put my assumptions about my behavior under a microscope and like try to understand if I was in the right or not, if that makes sense. Like, I am okay being like, kind of reflecting a little, well not reflecting, but I give the other person the benefit of the doubt more because of that, because I know I can be very biased. I'm glad I'm bad too. No, like I'm glad you're back. But no, yeah. Oh, it's funny. Hey, Gray Lizard, thank you. Yeah, bah humbug. Honestly, like I trend more towards the bah humbug. I watched me, my sister, and my niece watched what's it called? The Muppets Christmas Carol. Best movie. Best fucking movie. How do you feel about internal family systems? I don't know enough about them, honestly, because that's like, what is it? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I actually might be misremembering what that is, if I'm being honest. Like, does that have to do with, like, oh, like, you know, the terms like scapegoat, golden child, stuff like that? Or is that a separate thing? My buddy Joe, the sociopath that I've like interviewed on my channel, like he was really into that stuff. But I never, I'll be honest, I never really thought it was that like, not like, I thought there was like a lot of insight to be had. I think there's insight to be had with most things. But it never really called to me as a way to understand personality pathology. Oh, how do you feel? Oh, interprojective. Oh, okay, yeah. So never mind then. I know even less about it than I thought. Because I would have to look into it. I might know more about it, but like I can't. It's hard for me to kind of connect in my mind what it actually refers to right now. As a narcissist, sex is a very weird, uncomfortable thing. How do you deal with things like, oh my god, dude. Fuck Thomas, my dude. Fucking relatable, first of all. But like, one, no idea. Also, hello, Samantha. But like, sorry, I'm like distracted, paranoid. Guys, like, okay, this has been actually like an issue with me lately. Is that like because I've been in kind of like a more vulnerable state, I guess. My paranoia is like off the fucking walls. Like, and that's kind of why I'm like not as articulate as I usually am. Is I'm just like constantly looking for threats, and it just sucks. Anyways, but yeah, so for me, like I have a similar issue with sex actually, and I'm not sure how much of that is because I'm a narcissist and how much is because of like sexual trauma as a child. But yeah, like I don't know, whenever I have like for a long time I had a lot of issues with sex because I'd be like, oh my god, like I'd finish and I'd feel like disgusted with myself and I'd think that they were judging me. So I'd like fucking like walk away, get into an argument. But I have come a long way with that, and like I've had a couple partners where I've like had sex in that was more intimate, and I didn't feel super uncomfortable afterwards. And like for me, what worked was me like really focusing on trying to make it more about the intimacy as opposed to the sexual gratification, which was hard. I had to look him in the eyes during sex. That was wild. It wasn't wild, but you know, it was. But yeah, like I made like a very conscious effort to be like, I am trying to connect with this person during sexual intimacy, and that did help me be a lot more comfortable with it. But it took a while, and it's still not perfect. Like if I had sex with some random person today, I would probably have like, I'd probably have a similar reaction that you're like referring to. Yeah, I try to connect. Wild, right? Okay, let's see. Yeah, Samantha, I don't know anything about internal family systems. I apologize. Okay. So maybe about Sam Vaknin. I like his stuff. Curious who about talking about versus ability. I feel like I maybe go over borderline. Yeah, like, yeah, and I hope I made it clear in that video, by the way. First of all, thank you. Second of all, I hope I made it clear in that video that, like, I don't hate Sam Vaknin. I think that he can be, like, a really good, maybe not a really good resource, but I think he does have a lot of knowledge. It's just, again, I don't like how he presents himself because it's kind of dishonest. And I think he talks a little bit too, like, what's the word? Assuredly, when I feel like it's not quite like that. But yeah, thank you though. Yeah, so the link of narcissists struggling with erectile dysfunction. So from what I know, usually it's like it's the like performance aspect of it, of like I have to be the best in bed, and that puts a lot of pressure on somebody, especially for a narcissist who is that can be like a major self-esteem factor, right? and that pressure to perform in bed can lead to erectile dysfunction. I haven't really struggled with that, but I can easily see how it would happen. And like Dr. Root talked about this a little bit. I should have messaged her. Like last year I had like some people on to like talk about stuff too, but I was kind of impulsive this time. Maybe I should message Sarah. He can be pretentious. I mean, not just can be. He's pretentious. And I don't even say that in a bad way. I'm pretentious as fuck. But yeah, he's pretty pretentious. You're not just a narcissist, you're crazy, but I know I'm fucking nuts. Yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, like, I have to be, like, trashed before I have sex with, like, a random, like, it's been a long time since I hooked up with somebody. Last time I did, though, I was wasted. Anything anxiety-related can cause ED, not just NPD. Yeah, makes sense. But I think that, I do know narcissists are a little bit more prone to it purely because of the significance to their self-esteem that sex can have. At least to my knowledge. I don't know any studies on it. It's crazy when my ex doesn't seem like he has anxiety. That's interesting. I definitely do. But then again, I was like really good at hiding it. Or at least. And I would say I'm still pretty good at hiding it. Well, actually, no. I'm not good at hiding it. It's, if somebody knows what they're looking for in terms of my anxiety, easy to see. It's just that a lot of people don't know what to look for and how my anxiety presents itself, or unless I just say that I'm anxious. And yes, Rocky, I am drinking whiskey. Rocky, if you relapse on booze, I don't want to encourage that. I feel like a dick. You're much better than the narc I knew. Maybe. See, that's the thing I always try to, like, emphasize to people is I'm, like, I feel like in my videos I come off very, maybe not normal, but a lot more healed. And though I think I made a lot of progress, there's only so much you can gather about me from, like, a 10-minute video. You know what I mean? Like, if you were around me, like, daily, you're going to see some shit. You know what I mean? Hello, Lassie. I don't need to know the why, but my narc had to ruin the holidays. Do you want me to try to explain the reason why? I guess I can. Hello, Isis. First time? I haven't had one in a while. How do you get supply? How's this channel informing people narcissism? Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, self-esteem regulate. Like, that's the thing. Is that, like, when you have MPD, and, like, I assume that you probably know this, because unless I'm misremembering, I think you said that you also... Did you say you had MPD, too? Or am I, like, crazy? Well, whatever. If you are, aren't. But, like, basically, I was, so, like, yeah, like, when you're a narcissist, everything does, at the end of the day, come down to, like, self-esteem regulation. Like, that's the most important factor of every situation I'm in, even if I have other motivations. This channel, for example, I do get my self-esteem juice from, like, educating people and people being like, oh my god, you're aware and smart, blah, blah, blah. That does serve my self-esteem. However, it's not my most important, well, it is probably the most important part of it, but I have other motivations as well. However, those other motivations can be not over, like, they can kind of be put to the side because of the desperate need for self-esteem regulation. You know what I mean? And other ways to get supply, it's like, I mean, this is the main one right now, I'd say. I burnt a lot of bridges recently, if I'm being honest. But that and friends, like, and I've never, like, people, like, refer to this as, like, oh my god, that was my narc's main supply. And I'm like, I don't know, my partners are never really my supply. They're more of, like, a tool to elicit supply from others. Not to say I didn't care about them, but just to say that like that was a role that they filled, in while also other things too, but still. Elena. Yeah, I don't know, with narcissists ruining birthdays, it's like, well, and just holidays in general. I think there's like a couple things that kind of go on there. One, just gonna say it, there's probably some confirmation bias, right? Like us narcissists are having meltdowns all the time, and you might just notice it more on holidays, but also, I think that there's a big, I think that there's also a big, like, thing of, like, one, envy of other people being happy. Two, like, there's this, I'm trying to think, I'm, like, because, like, I fucking, like, because here's the thing, I've ruined a lot of, like, special occasions. I'm an ass. Sorry. I've done that before. But, oh, Sage did ask a good question. I do want to answer that. Sorry, I'm so distracted. Guys, my paranoia is, like, ruling me tonight. And now I'm being self-conscious, and I'm not being articulate, which is making me even less articulate. This sucks. I don't want to talk about holidays anymore. I should get with you for a podcast. Do you have a podcast? I mean, like, fucking email me. I don't give a fuck. I've been on a lot of shit. It's wild. Like, last time that I did a live, like, that was before I was in the Scientific American, before I was in all these news articles. I'm famous. I'm awesome. Anyways, okay, serious question though. Have you ever felt attached emotionally to somebody that offered to supply or in a relationship? So, hey, Sarah's here. Sarah, I was just talking about, like, messaging you. Would you want to come on by any chance? Maybe not now, but, like, in a little bit. Anyways, but have you ever felt attached emotionally to somebody that offered supply or in a relationship? So for me, it's like, again, as I said earlier, everything is put through that lens of, like, how is this filling my self-esteem regulation needs, right? I'm in a relationship with you, and maybe you're praising me, so maybe I get my self-esteem juice from that, or you're like, I find you attractive or admirable, and so I'm eliciting that from other people, right? So I'm like, you're in bed, gay. Oh my gosh. But anyways, I'm in that relationship. I'm eliciting self-esteem regulation from these people. But again, that's not the only reason that I am, like, doing it though. Like, I also do value them as a person. That being said, it's very hard to connect emotionally because of how predominant that emotional, like, that need for emotional regulation is. So it's like, if it comes down to it, I would probably choose emotional regulation over an emotional connection. And it does also get to the point that it's like, I struggle to even know how to connect to somebody emotionally. Now, if we asked, have I would say that I'm not sure if I have, but I've had, like, moments where I've been like, I felt very connected to somebody, or, like, had a lot of affection for them, but it's very fleeting. Yeah, and again, like, and Cassandra, like, because again, it's not even like I'm looking for a partner for that. Again, like, a lot of it, it's a little more dynamic than that. Because again, like, for example, I will, like, try to get other people jealous of me and my partner in public because it validates me to know that people are envious of the woman that I have and who's going home with me. Like, it can take a lot of forms. I hope that all made sense, by the way, Sage. And you're welcome. Does every narcissist rage, or is that a stereotype? I would be surprised. Let me put it this way. Narcissists, like, all narcissists are different, so I'm not confident. Like, I'm not, like, confident to say, oh, they all rage. It would surprise me though if like I ever met a narcissist who didn't at some point at least. I mean, everybody rages to some degree, but like, I mean, like emotional dysregulation is a really big part of cluster B disorders, and so it would surprise me if there wasn't. But I'm also open to the idea that there are narcissists who don't. When you become happy, is the happiness immediately followed by vulnerable and ruminating part of you as well? It's like, I don't know if it's like this for you, but when I get happy, it's usually because I accomplished. Like, for example, when I was in the Scientific American, for like 30 minutes, I was on top of the world, skipping around my room. I think I went to the park and like just skipped down, thinking I'm better than everybody. It was awesome. I guess I don't really get happy. I just get like grandiose. But then as soon as like that faded, it was like, oh, what if I can never match that accomplishment? What if this isn't it for me? And then this pressure to find something else to start to achieve. Also, one second, I need to get my charger. God damn it. Now where the fuck is my charger? Fuck me, where'd it go? Don't leave me. It's gonna make me self-conscious. Okay, there we go. Anyways, I'm back. I wonder how Sam Vaknin and HD Tutor feel about each other. I would put money that Sam Vaknin hates HD Tutor, and then HD Tutor learns from Sam Vaknin, would be my guess, but I don't know. Okay. Ugh. Yeah, I've done live streams with other narcissists. I've done live streams with Tess, Spirit Narc, if you know who that is. She's great. She's my girl. We're pretty good at keeping it like even, like in terms of a lot of things actually. Right. Wondering if you're been psychoanalysis as opposed to ordinary therapist does like CBT and doesn't get it. John Anderson is here, my dude. What's up? Oh god. Yeah, not going to talk about that. I don't even. I'm like afraid to even like say what you say because I'm like they will pull my stream. It'd be funny. But yeah, I have been in psychoanalysis when I was younger. I did see. Well, like I mean, I'm in psychoanalysis, but with a CBT twist to it, and it's like, again, I need a new fucking therapist. I do have ADHD too. So, who is messaging me? Yeah, I don't like CBT either. Like, it's like fine, and I feel like it probably can help a lot of people, but I think when it comes to literally any individual person, the treatment modality can be so like, it can be so important to how effective it can actually be. Like, for example, I think that I respond the best to MBT, mentalization-based treatment, but I can imagine another narcissist might respond best to schema therapy. I think it's like a very, like every kind of treatment modality is like, can be so specific to how it impacts one specific person. Anyways. So, Sarah, when is the Borderline Notes documentary coming out? I wish I knew. I really do. Me and Rebby were texting today, but like, she like last time I heard, she had like just started editing it like 3 months ago. I don't know how long that takes for her. God, I want it to come out. I want to be on Borderliner Notes. It'd be so cool. Anyways. You can watch a mental illness stream with Lee Hammock and his guest only spoke once. That can happen. I'm pretty good about that because I'm always like, I'm good at like being aware of the fact that I do dominate conversation. So I'm doing interviews and stuff. I'm pretty good at like not doing it. And with another narcissist, I always find myself like not vibing for time, but like I'm very aware of the dynamic. Let me put it that way. But yeah, I mean, I have some live streams with Tess. She's on a hiatus right now, but I'll probably do another one with her when she's back. Any therapist would be helpful at the moment with the new revelations in your video. Samantha, you're not wrong. Not wrong. You found your ADHD as debilitating as other ADHD that could be overshadowed by your empathy. Like, honestly, it is. I feel like it is as debilitating. Well, maybe. Hard to say. But, like, for me, it's like the MPD symptoms are such more of an issue that, like, I don't even really think about my ADHD half the time. And I'm on medication for ADHD. So. What did you get for Christmas? What did I get for Christmas? I got money, mainly. I got a bunch of Mounds bars. I want to buy myself, like, oh my god, did you guys know that, like, there is a DIY genetic engineering kit that, like, uses CRISPR technology? I learned about this recently, and I'm like, well, this is everything that I want. Oh my god. Like, oh my god, I want that so bad. I'm literally going to buy that for myself for, like, that's one of my Christmas gifts to myself, is a fucking CRISPR kit. And it has, like, oh fuck, 1 second. And it has, like, basically they give you a bunch of non-pathogenic E. coli, which I'm like, kind of worthless making it non-pathogenic when you give me the tools to genetically modify something. Also, it's only $150, which is kind of wild when you think about it. For a low price of $150, you can also weaponize anthrax. Kind of awesome. Like, don't get me wrong, it's like, sorry, 1 second, my stream is messing up a little bit. Okay, don't get me wrong, I appreciate it a lot that I can buy a genetic engineering do-it-yourself kit, but also, shouldn't there be, like, any safeguards on that? Bro, I'm banned from everything in 24. Hell yeah, I am. You guys want to see a news article out of fucking, it's like, local narcissist in Ohio makes COVID 2.0. That's how you do a job. How do you feel about money as the end all be all for you as well? I've always been, like, a lot more stoic about it. I've been like, I'm awesome because I don't need money. However, the freedom that money gives you and the ability to, like, exert influence and to be able to, like, make yourself known, those aspects of money, fuck, like, I crave that. But I don't like money for money's sake. I don't like frivolous expenditures. Like, I would never buy, like, a fancy car. Maybe I'd buy a Tesla because I kind of want an electric car, but still. I think Madonna is a narcissist. I read how she has a right to have a starting concert hours late and saying, "You're lucky I'm even here." See, it gets really hard, in my opinion, when it comes to celebrities, because, like, when it comes to grandiosity as a symptom, one of the, like it's the caveat is you can't, like, grandiosity without achievements that warrant it. So it's like her being grandiose. I mean, she kind of like fucking. I mean, she's kind of justified it. So it's really hard to like say for sure if that would be an NPD symptom in that case. You know what I mean? She sounds like a bitch though. I was on the naughty list. I always am. Why from one side narcissists remember every little thing they've done, but from another they claim not to remember much? Fact says narcissists associate all the time. They don't remember 80% of life. I don't know why some people would say either or. Like for me, if I'm heavily ashamed of something, like, I wouldn't say narcissists really dissociate, in my opinion, if I'm being honest. Let me think about that a little bit. Anyways, favorite candy is mounds. Mounds are fucking awesome. I don't care what anybody says. People make fun of me for liking mounds. I don't care. Love mounds. There's stuff Hogwarts Legacy. That's pretty awesome, Samantha. Merry Christmas, Angel. I think the guy who made I Have No Math on a Screen may have NPD. Oh, fuck. Was that the one... That was the short story about, like, the dude being, like, tortured by basically, like, an omnipotent captor, right? I don't remember it very well. It's been a long time since I read it. Didn't they, like, fuck a gorilla in that? Oh, weird. Going to a psych appointment for potential autism, ADHD, CPTSD, and AVPT. Any tips? I don't have any great tips, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm bad at advice. Like, I know a lot about this shit. When it comes to, like, practical advice, though, like, I've messed up a lot. I have rationalized my way around, like, most help that has been offered to me. I would say, like, the only tip I really have is just, like, make sure that you are finding somebody that has a specialty in those areas so that they don't, because again, if they view the world through this, like, let's say that if they're specialists in personality disorders and you're looking for, you're looking for personality disorder too, but it's like, it's possible that they would dismiss your autism symptoms as a personality pathology. That is a rough thing, right? So just make sure you get somebody who knows their shit, is I guess what I would say. There's someone you're obsessed with, like a first love almost that you never got over. Yep. Unfortunately. Yeah, one of my first ex I ever dated with, like, that I suspect she has BPD. And me and her are like friends nowadays. Still kind of obsessed with her. And in fairness, she's obsessed with me too. But I'm in a space in my life where I'm like, all right, I know that's not healthy, so I don't indulge it. But I do kind of have this feeling about her of like, oh, she's the one that got away. She was like the perfect, you know, she was my soulmate. But so. The favorite psychology book or books? I think, well, it depends what you're looking for. Because, for example, like, if you want to just, like, have if you're, like, completely fresh to the idea of narcissism and you want a book that's, like, very palatable, like, Mark Edenson's Unmasking Narcissism, awesome book. Like, amazing. However, if it's, like, if you're looking for something from, like, a therapist perspective and, like, really getting deep into psychoanalytic theory, I'd recommend something like Kohouts. What's it called? So, Reflection of the Self? That's not what it's called. One second. He wrote, like, a really good book on NPD. Reflection of the Self. That's not what it's called. What is it called? Mirror of Itself? The Analysis of the Self, that's what it's called. That's a really good book that covers pathological narcissism. So yeah, it really depends what you're looking for. Jacob acknowledged me. I did acknowledge you, narcissistic hex. I thought I did at least. So can a celebrity really be grandiose? It's true. They back up the shit they talk. That's where it kind of gets iffy. I don't know. I really like. It's like, how do you say that somebody is grandiose? Like, let's say, like, if I said Elon Musk was grandiose, it's like, okay, but like, he is one of the most powerful people in the world, one of the wealthiest people in the world. How is that grandiose? I think it has more to do with hierarchy, in my opinion, than it has to do with actual achievements. It's like, it's like less of like, how do I put it? Like, if somebody was like rich as shit and they're bragging about it, how I, in my mind at least, would differentiate them is that the person who's pathologically narcissistic bragging is going to be comparing themselves to other people. I'm the richest person in the world. I'm so much better than all these people. And like thinking that those achievements make them better than other people, while somebody who is just kind of arrogant might brag, but in a less of a hierarchical way. Just be like, I'm so rich, I'm so great, this is awesome. Do you always feel like you need to be friends with exes? Yeah. I feel like part of it is because I'm always like, oh no, like if I'm not friends with them, I don't know what they're saying about me. And so it's like this need for control over the narrative. About 5'10", 5'11". Again, Unmasking Narcissism is like a really fucking good book. Yeah, like, because again, it's like, for me, because I'll be honest, like, there's not many books that I would honestly recommend for NPD. Again, Unmasking Narcissism is awesome. So is Disarming the Narcissist by Wendy T. Berry. But I go more to like empirical studies because there aren't a bunch of great books on it. There's also, what is it? I know actually Otto Kernberg just released a new book a few months ago that like I didn't end up I need to read that. So did Anthony Bateman. He wrote one on treating narcissism through NBT. Yeah, that too, Rocky, is like fucking like there's the opposite side of it, the vulnerability aspect and the insecurity and how that comes out. It's like, it's hard to like, it's really hard, like that's the thing why I kind of try to basically tell people like, hey, like, don't don't look at narcissism just through one symptom. It's because it is a complex pattern of behavioral traits. A narcissist soulmate is usually sicker for some reason. How do you mean? Like sicker in terms of like mental health wise? Because in my case, I think it's a toss up. Is what I'll say. She's something else though. Or that HPD is a form of MPD. Is that true in your opinion? No. Well, probably not. Is what I'll say. As it is right now, it's not considered one. But if I were to like rethink the DSM and try to reclassify personality disorders, I honestly think HPD is closer to BPD. I would view it as like kind of between the two in a certain way. Like if we had like let's say I have a spectrum of like NPD here, BPD here, and like severity is would be another scale that I would use in this situation, like impairments to your functioning. Like HPD would be dead in the center, but like up, if that makes sense. Well, no, it'd actually be down, because they tend to have pretty good functioning. Yeah, MBD and borderline persona sort of present practically identically. I feel like, yeah, I agree, but hesitantly. Because, like, I wouldn't say they present identically, but I would say that, like, if you don't know what you're looking for, like, it's so easy to confuse them that they might as well. And hell, even, like, clinicians confuse them all the time. Yeah, there is, yeah, Samantha, yeah, there is some contention that HPD isn't real. Like, will be, and, like, it was because of why I said, is that because HPD is usually higher functioning, there's a lot of therapists who think that shouldn't be a disorder. Same with schizoid personality disorder. And it was almost taken out. Because they were like, well, I mean, they're fine, so why is it a disorder, basically? Let's see. Sorry, that's no. That's from the raising parents. Let me look that. I've never read that. 1 second. Raising Parents by Patricia Crinton. Eric, 1 second. I'm putting that in another tab so I can look that up later. Have you read Becoming the Narcissist's Worst Nightmare? The title alone scares me. I have not read that. I don't really intend to. With a title like that, I would immediately be like, okay, I don't feel like I'm really going to take anything from this. I mean, not even just as a narcissist, but even if, like, I mean, hell, I have an ex who has BPD and NPD, and I wouldn't want, like, I don't see what value in me healing from that situation would be by, like, being their worst nightmare. Like, I feel like titles like that are just kind of cash grabs. It's like, oh my god, look, this is how you get revenge on your narcissist. It's like, oh, cool, get stuck in a cycle of hate. That's awesome. I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but I get it. I don't understand how they get away with it. Does that make sense? Yeah, I'm not sure when he released that book. Well, because I think it was because Kernberg, like, just retired right after he released that book. Let me actually, I don't remember when he released it, though. It was relatively, I think it was within the past year. The map behind me is the Austro-Hungarian Empire. I find I'm kind of a history buff, and also I find the aesthetics of their borders very pleasing in a weird way. But yeah, Anthony Bateman's fucking awesome. Sage, I'm not sure if I agree, because you said no, BPD is abandonment. I assume abandonment. And I feel like abandonment isn't specific to BPD, though. I feel like, at least in my experience, I feel like narcissists can cover that fear up a lot more, or hide it, or whatever, or maybe, and a lot of times it's not even, like, conscious, right? But I think that's a trait for both of them. I kind of view NPD more as, like, borderline personality disorder, but with a grandiose shell. It's like, basically, you got the same underlying issues, but narcissists are dealing with it in a narcissist way, if that makes sense. I feel like their coping mechanisms to deal with abandonment aren't really very well developed. I don't want to phrase it like that. That doesn't sound correct to me. But I feel like it is much more of a core wound in their cases, but I feel like it can present very similarly in NPD. I don't know. But it's interesting. I'm open to the idea that, like, the core of BPD and their main issue is abandonment. But honestly, I want to ask, like, a borderline about it, honestly. Thank you, CA. Merry Christmas to you, too. A friend of mine says that BPD are narcissists with bursts of empathy. Would you agree? I get where they're coming from. I wouldn't agree with the phrasing, though. Like, I feel like they're like, it's just there's so much. It's just so much more complex than that I wouldn't sum it up in that way. But I do see where they're coming from. I think borderlines have an easier time apologizing and being wrong, from what I've noticed. I feel like they're much more, in my experience, I feel like they're much more, that's probably correct, because like they're much more in tune with their shame. Because I have like alexithymia, and like when I was younger, like I knew I was feeling the bad feeling, I hated it, and I'd get angry because I didn't understand it, but I didn't consciously recognize it as shame, and I feel like borderlines do, typically, and I feel, but there's all narcissists who do recognize it, so, but, I don't know. I would have to, I also feel like this is, I apologize, I think borderlines here, not trying to be mean. I feel like borderlines can be a lot more delusional, right? Like, like, I feel like it's that whole, emotions matter more than facts. Narcissists do that too, obviously. But I feel like I don't know, like, I'm basically speaking to my sisters, to like my experience with my sister, and like, it just feels like they're so much more convinced of it. Like, in the back of my mind, when I like twist shit, I'm kind of like, I kind of know what I'm doing. But borderlines seem like a lot more convinced, and they're a lot less willing to be like Machiavellian about it. That's purely anecdotal, by the way. No idea. Jacob, will we be cured? Sorry, Hex. Wish I could tell you. Probably not. But maybe. Swim 1, DSM newly removing schizoid. It's similar to basically with histrionic, which is kind of like there isn't a lot of dysfunction or clinical distress in schizoid patients. And so they're like, okay, why are we labeling this as a disorder when they're fine, right? Because schizoids don't even fucking care. They don't give a fuck that even if their life is a mess, they're fine. Well, maybe not fine, but they don't show any amount of distress or dysfunction due to their personality functioning. So it's like, Do you see a connection with the NBD and ASPD? Not really. Well, for me personally, I've seen some, and like obviously there's like lack of remorse, lack of empathy, interpersonal exploitation, but like I don't relate to people with ASPD all that much. I mean, I do, but like not any more than I would relate to a borderline, for instance. So I guess I do see the connection. I don't think it's a particularly strong connection compared to other disorders, though, or at least other cluster B disorders. My top 5 artists on Spotify. Will Wood was 2 of them, because he has like, he's under 2 names there, so he was like, and then I think it was John Father Misty, and then, let me see if like it's actually still on Spotify. Let me check. I don't even know it's on the computer. I only saw it on the phone. Will Wood and John Father Misty are the 2, are like 3 of the 5. I don't remember the rest though. Oh well. I might just scroll to the bottom because I'm getting behind. Because I am. Ugh, fuck. Anyways. Do narcissists create psychopaths? No. Psychopaths are, generally speaking, born, not made. I honestly think psychopathy should be. I think that the DSM does a huge misjustice by putting sociopaths and psychopaths both under the umbrella of ASPD. I think psychopathy should be considered a neurological disorder, and sociopathy should basically be the only component of ASPD. But I mean, they could make a sociopath though, because, you know, trauma in general. I've heard it phrased as NPD is cognitive empathy, not as much effective, and BPD is the inverse, which makes BPD more delusional when it comes to attachment stuff. Makes sense. I kind of doubt that NPD even has cognitive empathy, honestly. Like, just because I can be very delusional when it comes to my own beliefs. Because, like, I don't know, let's say that you are telling me about, like, something you accomplished and you're proud of it and you're trying to explain that. I'm going to assume you're doing that to self-aggrandize and or put me down, and I will make that assumption a lot, assuming that you're doing things for the same reason I am. So I even doubt that we have cognitive empathy, but yeah, James and Birdflower, I'm really Bird Lover. I'm really glad you mentioned that, actually, because James Fallon is like an awesome example of psychopathy, and how somebody with psychopathy can be very functional. I recommend everybody check him out if you want to learn about psychopathy. He's really interesting. Did he write a book? I don't think I read his book, but I think he wrote one. Do you have a favorite movie with a narcissistic character? I can't think of a movie. I can think of some shows, but I think House is a good example of a narcissist. Some people are like, oh, like, fucking, like, he's autistic. I'm like, I don't see that shit at all. Let me think. I think Homelander is a good fucking example of a malignant narcissist with superpowers. It's, like, exaggerated because it's a movie, I mean, a show, but what I do enjoy about him is that they show his emotional dysregulation, loneliness behind the scenes, and though I think I wouldn't ever say, like, oh yeah, he's definitely an NPD, because I don't feel like it's a completely honest example. It has redeeming aspects of itself that makes me like it. I mean, fuck. I relate to Homelander way too much sometimes. Yeah, and like Sage, I get what you mean. It's like, no, but like, I always say that, like, what's it called? I always say that there is as many presentations of any given disorder as there are people with the disorder. Jacob, name your favorite dinosaur. The Spinosaurus. Only because I think he looks cool. And like, well, here's the thing. So, this is such a weird thing to explain. But when I was a kid, my favorite dinosaur was the Dimetrodon. I want to say it was something like that. But that's technically not a dinosaur. I was really upset about that. So I couldn't say that anymore. But Spinosaurus, basically one of those guys, but stands on two legs. I was like, close enough. Do you get it? White Man Believes. What are you referring to? Is that a book or something? My community are lost with earthly comfortability. I apologize. I might be not familiar with. What you're referring to. I thought about becoming a psychiatrist. Maybe a wonderful one. I don't feel like I would, honestly. Like, I've considered going to psychology, but one, I'm only interested in personality disorders, honestly. Like, I don't give a fuck about, like, 90% of other aspects of psychology. And also, I feel like I'd be too prone to kind of viewing patients as, like, zoo animals. I think I could do it, but it doesn't particularly interest me. My dream car? I don't even have a dream car. All I care about is fucking that my car can drive me places. I honestly have no opinion on cars. I would like a Tesla because, again, an electric car sounds pretty neat. It's cheaper in terms of driving. Also, though, I would hate waiting for it to, like, recharge. So, I don't know. Psychopathy is more genetic. It becomes one that takes nature and nurture. Sociopath is not really nature, just nurture. We'll see, like, that's, because, like, it's so hard, isn't it? Because it's like we have no idea how much like it's like I'm gonna get passionate about this because it frustrates me when people are like, oh, how much of it is genetic or environmental, and that's what's so confusing about genetics though, is that there is no such thing as like 20% like genetic, 80% environmental. It's like asking if, you know, oh, I baked a cake, how much of it is heat and how much of it is like the combination of flour and so how much of it is the dough, right? And that's where it gets so complicated, because it's like it's so hard to really draw those lines in terms of saying it's genetic or not. The psychopathy does seem to have a much bigger genetic component, and I would say that like sociopathy is I imagine there's a genetic component, but yeah, I agree that it's primarily nurture. Like again, you probably need to have some kind of genetic predisposition, but yeah, the yeah, it's just like yeah, it's so hard to like really. It doesn't help that like we all kind of have this such cookie cutter view of genetics due to kind of the failings of like school. Because it's like, oh, you have dominant genes or recessive genes, and it's very like black and white, very matter of fact. And that's just not how things work. So complicated. By the way, I hope that didn't come off like I was like disagreeing. Like I agree with you. I just went on my little rant. I got self-conscious there that I was being mean. Sorry. Anyways, so yeah, secondary psychopathy, that's just sociopathy. And that's primarily environmental. Isamar is, I might be pronouncing your name wrong, I'm sorry. But Isamar, nice to see you. I'm glad you enjoyed the interview. Hello, Andrew. My night's going all right. Yeah, I can specialize, but I could specialize, but it's also like I don't know. I feel like honestly, academic work would be more where I would want to go and where I'd actually be like helpful in, rather than like treatment. I hate people. I hate working for people at Christmas. I hate Christmas too. Have a nice one. You too, Sarah. Nice seeing you. Thoughts on Taylor Swift? I have no idea. Like, some people have asked me about that. I got no clue. I haven't even looked into it. I just haven't been interested. Feel about traveling and giving talks? I'd love to. I need to be invited to more. I mean, I've given a few talks, but most of them have been virtual. You can debate Dr. Romney properly. That would be one hell of a showdown, wouldn't it? Me and Dr. Romney in the same room. There'd be blood. Someone would get stabbed. It won't be me. I'm joking. Oh my god. God, fucking having a talk with Dr. Romney. I'm actually connected with one of her colleagues. The person who actually asked me to speak at what is it, Northeastern? Yeah, Northeastern University. He's actually a colleague of Dr. Romney. I've been considering asking him to connect me to Dr. Romney because I think that'd be interesting. The maps and their significance. I mean, this map is just a map of North America. I basically, whenever I go on a road trip, I trace out my route on that map so I can like just have a visualization of where I've been. The one behind me, Austro-Hungarian Empire. I just kind of like the borders. I don't even like the history of the Austro-Hungarian Empire that much. I mean, I think it's interesting enough, but I just think it's aesthetically pleasing. That's just a calendar that I haven't changed for like 2 years. It's just an outdated map of South America. Oh, Raw Motivation's like my comment. It's cool. He Raw Motivation's had a kid recently, or is pregnant, or his wife is pregnant right now. And I was like, that's awesome. Christmas spirit, you know? That's cool. And like, I have a lot more, I don't know why, I've been like way more like, I guess, empathetic for people who having kids now that like I'm an uncle, because I'm like, my niece is like the best thing ever. I would set the, what the, alright, that's weird. I'm not a fire sign. I am a Gemini, which really pisses me off. Jacob versus Dr. Romney needs to see it. That would just be, again, that'd be wild. That'd be fucking wild. Fucking me talking to Dr. Romney. I feel like it would, like, I can just imagine the tension in the air. Like, I imagine us having a very civil conversation, but like, you could fucking, but I just imagine being able to cut the tension with a fucking knife. You're connected to her on LinkedIn. She's okay, but she's too near my own MPD account. Also, Sage, kind of cool that you're connected to her on LinkedIn. But yeah, like, that's the thing, is that, like, I respect Dr. Romney's work as, like, a therapist and some of the research that she's done and her work with, like, mental illness and people with HIV. When it comes to MPD, though, it doesn't seem like the best resource, in my opinion. Like, I feel like it can help a lot of people, don't get me wrong, but I feel like there's just better ways to go. And it does feel like she's kind of pandering. And I'm not saying that she is, because that's kind of an accusation I don't want to commit to. But it is something that, like, I kind of get the sense of. There better be blood. All right, instead of me and Dr. Romney having a debate or having a conversation, fucking just put us in the Coliseum. I'll win then, hands down. I'd win both. I'm a genius and strong. Oh my gosh. She would cry before blood and she's not healed. And see, I do wonder that too sometimes, of like, because I know that she's talked about having like narcissistic exes. And I'm curious how much of her content is basically her like trying to work through her own crap, or even maybe it originally was that, but then she kind of got caught in what the public demanded in terms of what she feels like people want to hear about NPD, and doesn't feel like she can like deviate from that now. I wondered a lot because she doesn't like my immediate reaction is always kind of like, oh, she's being disingenuous about NPD because she's like creepy. That's always like where, like, that's just where my head goes immediately. Again, I'm not saying that, but like at my narc brain, that's immediately where it goes. But like I have thought about it, and I'm very curious. Like, I'm very curious how genuine she's being, and if she is being genuine, where that's coming from, and hell, if she's not being genuine, where that comes from. Do you have some cool unknown history fact you can share? I have a fucking ton of them. Oh my god. Fuck. Give me like a time period. Give me like I need like, you know when it's like somebody asks you a question like that and it's like you can't think of something off the. Give me like a time period and I'll think of one. We do an interview episode with your sister. I do plan to. She wants to as well. She's actually considering making a social media account, which would be hilarious. The Skidmore siblings on the road want to fuck shit up. But yeah, we do plan doing one. Tears are blood. That's funny. Your office is giving history professor? So man, I think you mean giving history professor vibes. That's what I want my aesthetic to be. I want my aesthetic to be like 18th century anthropologist. I want like a bookshelf that's completely full with all the books I've read. Then like little cages of like insects and exotic animals. There's like a weird skeleton. I have my nice mahogany desk. It's like my study. Okay, I can't pronounce your name, but Farragitis? Nice to see you, by the way. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. But have I researched possibility of pathological narcissism being connected to dissociative personality disorder? Like dissociative identity disorder, do you mean? Because no, I have not actually. I have heard that. Like, I know that there's this one model that basically proposes that, like, a lot of personality disorders are basically partially dissociated. And then, like, with dissociative identity disorder, there's, like, completely dissociated. I don't know enough about it to say anything much more concrete than that. I do find it interesting, though. How old is your niece? She is, how old is my, she's 5 months now, I think. She's growing up fast. Honestly, like, I get so excited thinking about my niece, because I can't wait for her to grow up. Like, because I'm, like, I want to, like, talk to her, you know what I mean? And, like, I want to, like, teach her, like, I want to be, like, her tutor. Like, I want to be, like, this is everything I know. My knowledge now belongs to you. Like, this is my legacy. You now know everything I know. And, like, I'm very just curious about how she's going to be as a person when she, like, grows up. I don't know. Yeah, that's, like, and she is, and don't get me wrong, it's, like, she's adorable right now, so it's not like, oh, she needs to stop being a baby. But it's just, I don't know. That sounded weird. Mixed Lang said, I'm not a fan of Romney. There's something about her that doesn't sit right with me. I don't want to shit talk her, but yeah. I will say that some of the vibes that she puts out feels very corporate, most, if that makes sense. Maybe not corporate, but like it feels. Let me put it this way: when I watch Dr. Romney, I feel like I'm watching somebody run a business. And I'm not saying that means that, like, she's wrong about a bunch of shit and or even has bad intentions, but I do get that vibe that I don't enjoy. Love your definition of personality disorders video. Thank you. I don't even remember what video that is. Like, if I'm like, oh, I remember what it was now. Like, people got mad. I posted that, and people got mad at me because I made this joke saying that, like, AVPD is boring. And, like, I didn't mean it. It was a joke. But, yeah, people got mad at me about that. I was like, what the fuck? Do you know how popular that video would be if you guys did a video like that? Oh, my God. Like, I can, like, imagine it. Like, oh, my gosh. Like, that video would blow up so much. That's how I get on Jimmy Fallon. I do a video with Dr. Romney like that. Here's me, somebody has been abused by a narc now as I add to. Yeah, Sage, I can see that. Like, I'm not sure, but I can see it. What's the first thing you would say to Romney? Probably something like, hey, I don't know. I'd go into it, like, trying to be charming and polite. I'd be like, it's a pleasure to meet you, blah, 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 blah. But if you're talking about, like, a real shit, I'd probably ask, like, a pretty loaded question, if I'm being honest. I'd probably ask something along the lines of, like, you know, given the severity of this disorder and how it impacts the people affected with it, do you feel like your content, is, like, making it so that people with MPD can't get the resources they need to get help? And I'd probably follow up with saying something along the lines of, like, because, I mean, if your only priority is towards people who have been affected by narcissists, respect. But I'm also like, but I'd also be like, oh, like, isn't the best way to help victims of narcissistic abuse, I'm not a huge fan of that term, is by curing narcissism, more or less. And I wouldn't even, like, it would be a loaded question because it would get my point across. But I wouldn't even mean that in a way of, like, oh, I want to humiliate Dr. Romney. It would be me honestly, I'd just be kind of curious how she would react to it, because that'd be interesting. But also, I just kind of be like, but it would also give me, like, a good clue of how genuine she is. Because I do struggle to know if she is or not. Again, not trying to accuse her of anything, but, you know. And, okay, Sage, you actually bring up something really interesting. Because, like, that's actually, like, Sarah. Okay, Sarah, I do too, but I'd probably be too afraid to. But anyways, yeah, like Sage, you're saying interesting. It's like this is actually an issue I see in some MPD communities, is where they want to go to like narcissistic abuse like communities to like talk about their issues, because they were made into a narcissist by another narcissist, but they aren't allowed in because they got the pathology. I feel like that honestly would be a big way for me to be more accepting of the term narcissistic abuse, is if it was a little bit more inclusive, because it's like, okay, it's like, yeah, obviously if you have a narcissistic parent, there's a good chance you will become a narcissist. Not always, of course, but it happens a lot. I also hate just the energy in those communities. Like, I wish it was more something like Al-Anon, where there was a lot of compassion, but also like recognizing the hurt. Like, just like if she was just able to be like, if they were just able to be like, yeah, I was hurt really bad. There's not really an excuse for them. I need to distance myself from my own like personal, for my own personal well-being, but also like still view them as human. I think that'd be like a huge step forward for those communities, but I don't think that's ever gonna happen. Hello, Kevin. It's nice to see you. I did not watch Oppenheimer, Samantha. I've seen some clips from it though, and I do want to watch it. It's just that I don't like watching movies if I'm not like with people. Which trial? Oh, fucking history facts. Okay, I'll go through a few of these. Witch trials. Fun fact: if you ever read The Crucible, Thomas Danforth. First of all, that's my ancestor. Cool as hell. But he also, like, if you read The Crucible, like, Thomas Danforth was portrayed as very much encouraging the witch trials. That's not actually the case. He was actually very instrumental in putting an end to them. And you could also talk about like someone like Giles Corey. This is kind of like a normie fun fact, I guess. But like Giles Corey, who basically he didn't want to justify the witch trials by giving a plea for guilty or not guilty, so they pressed him. What's it called? Pressed? I don't remember what the word for the torture was. But basically, they put like a piece of wood on you, then stack stones on you until you like confess or just talk. And his last words were, and he ends up being killed by this torture, and his last words were, "more weight," which is a fucking hilarious thing. Also, another normie fun fact is like, nobody was burned at the stake at the Salem witch trials. I'm pretty sure most of them were hung, and I think most of them were hung. I don't know about the other ones though. Like, still. Anyways, World War II. Fun facts about World War II. Not many fun facts about World War II. Oh my God, there's just, World War II is such like a complex thing as well. I'm like literally like looking at my map right now trying to think. Like, I'm trying to think of one that's like actually like interesting. Because if I start thinking, yeah, fun fact, Hitler is dead. That's a fun fact. That's like the only fun fact about World War II. The only fun thing about World War II is Hitler ended up dead. Oh, that's funny. Then sorry, I'm trying to think of a good one. I mean, okay, well here's like a general one for World War II. I guess maybe not World War II, but like the rise of Nazi Germany, is that so when Hitler didn't form the National Socialist German Workers' Party, he actually joined it, right? Like he was basically like being a spy for the military, and he just liked what they were saying, and so he was like, I'm going to join now. And they had so few members that basically when you would get your like party ID, you'd have like a number associated that was supposed to represent how, like, it was just an ID number, but the implication was that's how many people were in the party. And so they put like, it's funny, they literally had their ID number start at like 300 or something like that to legitimize them, which smart. And also, I think Hitler was like 314, so he was like the 14th person to join the party or something like that, which was like really interesting to me. I don't know why that particularly did. I mean, there's just so much about World War II that's just like, I mean, just like that rise of radicalism, so interesting. Also, also what was I? Oh, I need to tell you guys about Thomas Skidmore. This dude was like a proto-communist, and he's like my great-great-great-grandfather, and he's nuts. This dude, I mean, first of all, he sounds just like me, kind of scared by that. But he was like very smart, very articulate, but fucking narcissistic as shit. Like literally, you read through his biography, and like he's just making enemies left and right because he's such an ass. But he was also like smart enough that like he was teaching the equivalent of a high school at 13 years old. No, before 13 years old. He was like 12, which is fucking nuts. Imagine you getting like your math lesson from a 12-year-old. But he's really interesting. I gotta talk about him later. Anyways, I'm gonna move on. Oh man, Ant Farm would be cool. What about Ant Farm? I do want a fornicarium. Desperately, I want a fornicarium. I've wanted one for so long. I used to have one actually. 1920s. The Roaring 20. Like, not much happened during the 1920s that I can really. I mean, stuff obviously happened. I can't think of any good facts about that, though. That's probably where my knowledge of history kind of dries up. How old is your niece? 5 months. Do you celebrate Christmas with her? Yes. We don't celebrate Christmas. Also, yes. Yeah, I spent both Christmas Eve and Christmas with my sister and my niece. Anyways, Victorian era. Victorian era. Victorian era is one of my favorite time periods. Oh, when you're talking about everything. Okay, yeah. Okay, makes sense. I want a fornicarium so bad. Okay, so I live in Canton, Ohio. Like fucking enough people know it at this point. But basically, there's a McKinley Monument here, also the McKinley Museum, it's just our natural history museum. And they have one area that is like kind of like a comb of beehive stuff, and they have a queen in there and like an actual thriving bee colony and like a tube to the outside. So, you go in and you can see that there's bees there, and that's cool. As a kid, you play a game being like, oh, that's the queen. Hilariously enough, when I was a kid, I don't remember this like at all, but like I would go there very frequently, and like the teachers would bring their like classes there, like as a field trip. And since I was there so often, the teachers would like recruit me to go help the other kids with their like scavenger hunt. And I was like a couple years younger than them too. Which is like, I don't remember it, but like I look back on that and I'm like, little Jacob was adorable and smart. Oh yeah, Victorian era. Fuck. Because the Victorian era would have been, I don't know when the official start of the Victorian era is. Like, when was the coronation of Queen Victoria? It would have been like early 1900s, right? Like, yeah, 1830s. Okay, yeah. I'm trying to think of like a good fact from that time. I know. See, it's so hard because history is so broad. I can tell you some amazing fun facts about history, but it's like I need to get my fucking memory going of like a specific time period. I'm thinking about like Britain right now because that's the most topical. 20th of June, coronation of Queen Victoria was in. Okay. There was, oh, the Balkan, okay, wait, what? That would have been early 1900s. Was, well, I think the first Balkan War was in 1908, right? I think so. And that was technically during the Victorian era, wasn't it? Because the Balkan Wars, I find so fucking funny. Because basically, so for those of you that don't know, fucking history lesson with Jacob. I'm going to give you half-assed information on history. Basically, the Balkan Wars were a bunch of like Slavic people kind of getting together and being like, hey, because at this time the Ottoman Empire was a thing, and they controlled most of. It was the really like when did the Victorian era end? I gotta look that up now. Now that's going to bother me. Era. So oh yeah okay wow 1901 huh. For some reason I thought. Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, like the Balkan Wars, so interesting to me, because basically at this time the Ottoman Empire was like controlled like a lot of the southern Balkans. Like they had light control over Bulgaria. They controlled a lot of Serbia. They controlled Macedonia and Albania, if I remember correctly. But basically, all these dudes living in the Balkans were like, hey, the Ottomans kind of suck. Let's have a war and get rid of them. I think the Romanians also, yeah, the Romanians too, I believe. But basically they all get together, they kick out the Ottomans, and then so they're all like, yay, this is awesome. And immediately the Bulgarians were like they basically had like, they claimed Northern Macedonia, if I remember correctly. And ethnically speaking, like Northern Macedonia is primarily Bulgarian. I mean, they might disagree with me if they heard that, but still. But basically, the Serbians were like, nah, we want to make fucking, they're about to be part of Yugoslavia, or they need to be part of that, whatever. So you don't get that. And so the Bulgarians instantly turn on all their former allies and declare war on them, and lose. And then, well, they only lose after the Greeks, Albanians, and Serbs tell the Ottomans, the people that they were trying to kick out, to come help them beat the Bulgarians. And I'm pretty sure the Romanians came. So no, the Romanians were only part of the first second Balkan War. Now I'm thinking about it. But yeah, so yeah, then the Romanians come in. Bulgaria gets their shit kicked in, and they just lost every single war following. And but the thing is, they had like such a intense military history. They were they were called the Prussia of the Balkans, which, if you don't know, Prussia was very militaristic and was renowned for that. And so basically they're saying, fucking Bulgaria is crazy down there. It was just like really interesting. Ottoman Empire was pretty incredible. They're really interesting. I mean, calling them incredible sounds weird because they were, like an imperialistic kind of oppressive empire, autocratic empire. But like, they were very interesting at the very least. If you give a name to your inner critic, what name would you give it? Dad? That was an awesome joke. That was an awesome joke that I just made. But what name would I give my inner critic? Jason. Without context, it sounds really weird. Basically, like, well, maybe not Jason, but like any name that I associate with my ideal self, probably. So like, Atlas, that'd be it. Atlas. Do you always have a favorite subject they're obsessed with? I'm not sure. I have because I fluctuate through the things I'm interested in, honestly. I feel like they always have like something like their history facts about Nietzsche. All right, very briefly, I want to talk about that. So I would say that The only interesting fact I really know about Nietzsche is that a lot of his work was like. I did skip your question. I apologize. I will get back to that. I will get to, like, I just saw the Nietzsche question, and I'm like, I'm gonna forget this if I don't say it right now. But basically, a lot of Nietzsche's work was kind of appropriated by his sister, who was a very fervent German nationalist, and so she actually changed a lot of his writing to reflect that belief, because a lot of his writing wasn't published until after his death. So basically, she found it, made it sound more pro-German nationalism, then released it. What a bitch. Because he wasn't a nationalist, like, at all, to my knowledge. Anyways, but yeah, like, for me, it's like, I don't have a favorite subject I'm obsessed with, but I do have, like, I have, like, a thing. Like, and I feel like a non-narcissist do. Like, I have, like, this thing that is, like, what they take the most pride in. For example, I want to be seen as, like, academic and intelligent. Tess wants to be seen as cute or famous, right? I feel like narcissists have that. I don't know about specific subjects. I don't have much of an opinion on DID. They're cool. I mean, they can be. I don't know. They're probably person-by-person basis. I am trying to talk to her now, but it's hard to talk to babies. Is that your measure of success beyond Jimmy Fallon? Yes. Yes, I will get on. See, you guys gotta prevent me from being on Jimmy Fallon. I'm done with influencer stuff as soon as I get on Jimmy Fallon. I'm like, all right, I made it. I'm done. You say no is better than you in any aspect objectively, even if it doesn't feel like it, and you try to throw shade at them. Do you feel like HD tutor is better? I don't know if you can answer it subjectively. It was an interesting question to ask. That is a good question, Kevin, honestly. I view myself as objectively better than HD tutor, but I also view him as above me in the hierarchy purely due to his popularity. So it's like, but also it's like, okay, I do, like, honestly thinking about it, I do think I am too critical. Okay, I don't like him. I do not like how he presents information. I feel like it's very dramatized. However, I don't know how much of that is a genuine and honest critique of him and how much of it is my own envy. Where I'm like, well, he has more subscribers than me. He is more famous than I am. Arguably more famous. It's hard to say nowadays. I'm very well known now. But I feel like again, he's higher up in the hierarchy, but I feel like I'm better than him in, like, a measure of worth hierarchy, if that makes sense. I never heard talk about that. There's, like, 2 hierarchies. It's like, I mean, there's so many hierarchies. But success hierarchy, then, like, worth hierarchy. Success hierarchy, he's got me beat. Worth hierarchy, I got this. If that help the abusers and the abused won't be abused any longer, unfortunately, not all users don't even think they're wrong. And that's, like, mixed lag. I feel like that's a big issue here too, is where it's like, because narcissism is so tied to abuse, it's a really hard thing to tackle because of how it's portrayed and how people view it. I feel like because it's specifically about narcissistic abuse, I feel like it's a lot more practical to tackle it from that position of, they are from, like, the personality disorder itself. Rocky, I find your comment hilarious. I'm not going to read it though because I don't want to say it out loud on the stream. Oh, Evie's here. What's going on? Well, she was here at least. She said something. Alright, speaking of, I need to message somebody. Also, hello, Ember. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was kind of referring to, Kevin, is that, like, it's hard for me to know if, because, like, again, I'm genuinely not sure if I have a realistic critique of how he presents his information. That I've been thinking about this a lot more recently, purely based off the envy and stuff. So it's like, though I do view it in that way, I'm not sure if it's, nowadays I'm a lot more questioning whether or not I'm accurate in my assessment of him. I think, honestly, I probably have been more critical of him than was warranted, even if there are fair criticisms to be had in regards to HD Tutor. But fuck him, whatever. Abigail Williams in The Crucible was written as a sociopath. She's fucking close to it, if not just blatantly a sociopath. Yeah, I agree. I mean, God, she was such a bitch. I hated her so much. Like, I was like, she sucks. Fun facts about French history from the many revolutions. Fuck. I mean, fun facts about history from try to think of a good one. I mean, it's like, I mean, just Napoleon, like, because all I can, I mean, obviously, more revolutions than just Napoleon, but Napoleon was just so fascinating as a person. Let me think. There was, all right, it looks like I have to go at 11, but, yes. What was, oh, what the fuck, dude? Okay, noted. Yeah, and Kevin, like, see, and Kevin, like, that's kind of something I was actually thinking about, is, like, I don't fucking, like, see, that, and that's kind of why I've been questioning my, like, how I've assessed HD Tutor recently, is because I'm, like, thinking about it, I'm like, okay, I would say, other than, I mean, he throws in some weird shit that definitely isn't accurate, but I would say, like, a good 80% of the time, he's pretty accurate, but the way that he presents it is so just over the top, and, like it's Tolkien-esque in my mind. And, like, yeah, like, when he calls himself the Ultra, like, and his, like, hierarchy, and it's, but, and I do think that's where HD Tutor is most interesting, is when you see how his narcissistic thinking impacts his conceptions of the disorder. Like, it's like he literally made a hierarchy of narcissists, and I'm like, that isn't a real thing at all. And that's one of the things that I would say objectively is bad, like, is just misinformation. But I do think but I do think I might be a little bit too critical. But I still would not recommend him for people. Like, if somebody came up to me and was like, what's a good channel other than you to watch to, like, learn about narcissism, I would not recommend him. I would recommend Vaknin before him. Not even because, like, he's inaccurate, just because I'm like, I feel like Vaknin does, even if I do think Vaknin has his issues and is way too, like, generalizes way too much, he presents it in a much more honest fashion. But yeah. My ethnic background is not, why'd you get Hungarian? Did you just assume that because of the Austro-Hungarian map? No, I'm, so, man, I wish I could, like, show, like, shit on the, I gotta learn how to do that, because that'd be fun, to, like, to show you guys shit, just, like, on my computer. But, according to 23andMe, I'm, like, 80% British and, like, 15%, Slovak. No, well, it says Polish, but I know my great-grandpa was Slovak, so I think they got it wrong. And then, like, just a bunch of random other shit. But yeah, so English and Slovak. Maybe not even, well, British and Slovak. I'm pretty sure I have, like, Scottish in me, too. Kevin, I actually noticed that too. So, like, I'm like ignoring some people right now because I am interested in what Kevin's saying. But, like, I'm like, you should let us get. Yeah, oh my god, I should have. Oh, I'm mad. But yeah, like, because I noticed that too, where it did seem like his self-esteem juice he got from his popularity did actually inflate his grandiosity a little bit, which I thought was, which I do think is kind of interesting. I have done research regarding toxic parents and cooking and share knowledge personal as possible how a toxic parent cook and treat their kids with food. I mean, my dad I would just eat TV dinners. And occasionally he would cook an actual meal once a week. Other than that, TV dinners. But when he did cook, it was good. My mom was kind of similar, but she was a little more attentive. I don't know. What do you want? Like, I guess I'm not exactly sure what the question is. Samantha, my favorite time period. I don't know. Roman Empire is obviously like A tier. I think if I had to choose an absolute favorite, probably Victorian era. But it's one of my favorite time period, or the Hellenistic era, because that's so interesting. But I don't know much. I don't know as much as I want to about the Hellenistic period. Random, but do you think you'd be a good president? I'd be a scary president. But I would say I'd be a good president, probably. I don't know, ask me some political questions. Sage, you want to follow you on IG, but I want a private account. My IG is like the.nameless.narcissist. I have like, oh my god, I think my Instagram has overtaken my YouTube channel now I'm thinking about it. That's scary. I've been neglecting this place though. We still make jokes about Bulgarians being backstabbers. Oh, okay, that's funny. I didn't know that. What, if you're still here, Mystery Devil, I'm curious what, Balkan country you're from. I have a Croatian friend. She's cool. She's my, like, Cluster B sponsor. I have not been to, Turkey. I have not. I'd be interested. Go to Istanbul, that'd be neat. They're well organized, their military and way of governing lasted 600 years, no other empire lasted that long. Really? There has to be another empire that lasted that long. But yeah, they were impressive, don't get me wrong. From Serbia. Oh, you're not going to, like, you're not going to like my Croatian friend then. No, I'm joking. I went to Serbia when I was in the military. And I hung out mainly with Bosniaks from the Republic of Srpska. And, like, they were fun as fuck. I had a great time. So, I mean, they're basically Serbian, but, like, because, you know, again, they're from the Republic of Srpska. But, like, I will never, like, some of my fondest memories are just smoking cigarettes, drinking, what's your guys' liquor? Oh, God. Oh, if I can't remember, I'm going to die. Rakia, right? I think it's Rakia. But yeah, and drinking rakia with rakia doesn't sound right. Is that correct? I think. Yeah, so it is rakia. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Yes. Okay. Okay. I am. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, drinking rakia, gambling, just playing poker. Oh, it was so fucking fun. I miss that so much. That was one of the best times of my life. I'll never forget that I'll never forget me and my friend, she was with me playing poker with the, I don't know if to call them Bosnians or Serbians, because, I should get, I might go get my, like, he actually, one of my buddies there, me and him traded, like, military jackets. So I have, like, a Republika Srpska, like, army jacket that, like, he wrote a little note in. It was really cool. But, so I might go get that to show it off. But, like, just, like, wear it for the rest of the fucking live. But, yeah, me and my friend were, like, drinking with them and gambling. And there was a dude there, he just had, like, it was a water bottle, but it had rakia in it. And I remember, like, she never really drank, she never smoked cigarettes, and she was just huffing down cigarettes with us and, like, drinking the rakia. And I'll never forget her, like, throw up, like, I just see her, like, slide down off the chair, and she throws up on herself, and just all of them just dawn. I looked around like, what the fuck happened? Like, half of them, like, it dipped, and then, like, the other half were, like, trying to help. I was like, all right, guys, let's, like, chill. She's fine. Oh, my God. It was so funny. Anyways. No, you can't see my toes. I'm going to try to get caught up. I'm going to do, like, some, like, fucking just real quick answering to try to get caught up with the chat. Alright. You should do after recycles and upload the same videos. Fair. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't watched them in so long. If you did any occupation without having to go to school for it, what occupation would you choose? And if you were so good at something that would be paid for it, what would it be? I want to be any kind of scientist on it. Like, I've always wanted to be a microbiologist. That's what I wanted to be when I was a kid. That's it. My views on having kids hasn't really changed. I'm still too afraid of fucking them up. But I'm much more... Let me put it this way. I'm like... I don't know. I really like my niece. And so I view it a little bit less selfishly now. Where I'm like, okay, I don't want to fuck up a kid. But I don't view it as selfish if I do have a kid, if that makes sense. Do you wear black t-shirts all the time on IRL too, or is this part of your online persona? Mainly the online persona. I do wear black t-shirts majority of the time, but not all the time. So narcissists have their own personal religion. Do you feel like that applies to you? I don't like the wording, but I get what he's saying. Like, I have, like, I call it the narrative, where it's like I have my narrative that, like, basically needs to be adhered to. Calling it a religion, though, feels weird. Do you think the narcissist would apologize if there's a problem? For me, apologies either come from me trying to alleviate shame or me thinking, well, this is just more practical. I don't know if a narcissist... Like, the only time I ever apologized out of, like, guilt and remorse was when I was tripping on shrooms, which was fun. You should interview somebody like ASP, like Cherry. I'll have Cherry. Like, she was here. I don't know where the fuck she went, but she. But yeah, I could do a live with her or an interview with her every time. Yeah, Andrew. Like, it does get weird. It's like, oh, is this accurate or is it just me being crazy? On TikTok Live, I lost 7 followers. What? Sarah, no. You didn't even say anything that bad. We've been for a month, just wondering. Depressed, primarily. I just been a mess. What terms a person's position in the worth hierarchy? Well, I mean, there's a bunch of hierarchies beneath it. I would say primarily intelligence, but there's a hierarchy of hierarchies, where it's like, there's like, intelligence is the most important thing, followed by like charisma, followed by attractiveness, things like that. And basically those things can kind of be like weighed against each other to determine the worth in the overall hierarchy. Like, like an evil dragon, right? Mixed, yeah. Yeah, I really wish I would let you guys guess what my ethnicity was. That would have been interesting. You found him? I didn't know he had a blog, Mixed. Maybe I did. I came across it, but I don't think I ever really looked into it. British, I would have lost any bet, really. A lot of people, like, when I was in the army, my CO would always, like, on two separate occasions, he walked up to me and said, "Are you Eastern European?" Not even remembering I was the same guy. And I'd be like, "Not really." And he's like, "You look like it," and would just, like, walk away. And I was like, that's the weirdest thing ever to say to somebody. I am not Irish according to my 23andMe, I'm not. Well, I'm Northern Irish. Like, Northern Irish, Scottish, and English. But, like, Northern Ireland, like, is primarily ethnically English, so that's, and Scottish, so it's like, That him feeling superior because of popularity, or you're feeling that from the beginning and trying to appear more modest to be liked. It's probably a combination of both, if I had to guess. Like, in my opinion. Like, I would imagine that, like, he did feel like that, but didn't become emboldened until he had that, like, that self-esteem juice, more or less. He probably was more covert, I would imagine. Think intelligent narcissists apologize? Exactly. Because I'm an intelligent narcissist, so I'm going to agree with you. Oh my god. From Serbia, Mr. Devil? Yeah, we covered that, yeah. In Zagreb. I've never been to Zagreb. I'm curious, though. It said, unaware narcissists will tell you it's a matter of perspective whether they're harming others or not, but in other interviews, so we just said that. See, that's the thing, is that, like, just the way he distinguishes narcissists in his arbitrary hierarchy, annoying. Do you ever regrets about going public? Yeah, I would say that, like, I do. Well, okay, because, like, I haven't really talked about this, but, like, this is actually, like, it's not as much of an issue now because I found other means of making an income. I've been rejected from jobs because of me having, like, a public profile, like, having, like, you know, being, like, out there, shit like that. And part of me wants to be like, oh, they're rejecting me because they know I'm a narcissist. And it might just be because, like, I am more, what's the word? Again, high profile, just like I have a presence. People might recognize me. I may be seen as a representation of the company, is what it is. And also, it's like, I wish that it was like, I could, like, and so, like, that really sucks because it's like, I'll be honest, if I don't basically use this to, if I don't basically do this, like, I'm kind of stuck now, I guess. Where it's like, if I don't either do this or use this in order to get into a different profession, I'm screwed. Because it is what it is. I'm sure there's some jobs that would still accept me, but, you know. Other than that, there's also the regret of the fact that, like, I miss being able to hide my diagnosis because, like, it sucks that whenever, like, let's say I get into some drama or a fight with somebody, it doesn't matter what the fuck happens. People are going to assume I'm wrong because I'm the fucking crazy one. I'm the narcissist. And that also blows. So I'd say those two things. Again. I'll come back to Serbia. I swear. So glad you're interested in history and life here. It's a cool experience. Life here is nuts. Honestly, the Balkans are, like, fascinating. Like, honestly, I think it's such an underappreciated part of like European history and culture. And y'all are fun as fuck. You guys are awesome. Anyways, I can watch both you and HG Tutor. One narcissist I find to be repulsing to let others continue. Kevin, I have a lot of thoughts on her. She blocked me on TikTok and accused me of copying her, which was annoying. I'm trying to think of a way to like. I don't want like. I was way more just arrogant when it came to just like shit talking people like back in the day, and nowadays I really try to avoid that. Let me put it this way, I don't view her as a good resource. That's all I'm going to say. If you want to learn more, I would advise, maybe I should, I don't know. If you're on TikTok, look up Cherry. You'll see some shit. Thank you, Fargus. It is whiskey. I keep waking up to bruises and cuts. I've woken up to bruises, not cuts though. That's interesting. Cuts. That's interesting. I have met a female narcissist. Tess, one of my best friends. What's your take on debating theories that Grandiosity so unconsciously built defense for vulnerability versus it being a matter of fluctuation? Honestly, I think both of those could be true, because I do think that the grandiose side of narcissism is effectively just a defense for the vulnerable aspects of it. But I do think it also fluctuates, like the effectiveness of the grandiose self can go up and down depending on how much self-esteem regulation you're getting. But I've never met a narcissist that hasn't fluctuated to some degree, is what I'm saying. Ugh. A guess of Scottish and Polish. Really specific guesses, but also very on the nose. Interesting. Nobody asked me. I sent you a DM. Sage, if you sent it over... Oh, you sent it over Instagram, I imagine. Okay. Noted. Mastermind, I agree. I don't like... See, that's like... I don't like her content specifically because a lot of it is like, okay, here's how you like manipulate people. And I'm like, this isn't... She's fucking treating sociopathy as if she's in an episode of Criminal Minds. And that's annoying. Wait. I think someone's criticizing you, they're jealous, that your mind simply couldn't comprehend any potential reason. Ironic, I've never felt envious in my life, but I also value logic over emotion, and I criticize people I love the most. You do that without ever envying anybody. See, rationally I know that, and like, when I really start thinking about it, I'm like, I judge people all the fucking time without being envious of them. Well, I'm envious of them a lot. But normally it's just kind of like just me criticizing somebody. But that's just how like, it's weird, because it's like, yeah, I can just like judge the fuck out of people. I can be mean to people, but I can't apply the same logic to me. It's interesting. I imagine it's because like, you know, it's the narcissistic defenses, obviously, but when they like, I can't like, how do I put it? like, I feel like it's because I feel so justified in what I do so often that I'm like, well, it makes no sense they'd be mad at me. They must just be envious of me. See, I do want to write a book. I was working on one at one point, but I got distracted. I want to call it, I want to write like a kind of dramatized autobiography. Yeah, like Father John Misty, fuck. I said that like really early on in the live. But yeah, no, he's cool. I like him. He's a fucking... Okay, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if he was a narcissist, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I want to write the book. I want to call it Defective. And it's like a dramatized account of my life, trying to like explain the inner mechanisms of narcissism through that perspective. But yeah. Alright. What is my favorite whiskey? I don't know. I don't really have like my go-to whiskey is this like Seagram's American blended whiskey, but it's definitely not my favorite. It's just cheap. What the fuck? Andrew's here. Andrew McBride. Merry Christmas, my dude. If I'm self-isolating, I am in a self-hating moment, honestly. I'm like a mess. Yeah, like, again, like, I have a lot of ambition. Oh, fuck, I gotta go in like 1 minute. Okay, 3 more questions, and then I am leaving. I do intend to start doing my lives again. Don't know when, though. So I'm like... maybe not even 3 questions, or 3 just topics, even. But yeah, like the worst part is that, objectively speaking, you can't know if they're actually doing that or not. Kevin, that's a fucking... Yeah, you're right. I mean, sometimes those blatant... Like, I've had people blatantly say it to me before, but you're also correct of, like, in that case, where, like, I will get paranoid of it. Of, like, they must just be using it against me. That's why they don't believe me, blah. And, like, there's been times that I've been objectively wronged. Or maybe I wasn't. And I just can't realize it because of my narcissism. But I felt, at least, objectively wronged. And I couldn't fucking... And, like, it just... the only way I could... And, like, I was just like, oh, they're just using the diagnosis against me. Favorite serial killer mastermind? Good question. I have, like, so... I went through a cannibalism phase when I was in middle school, and that's when I read about most serial killers I know about nowadays. And, like, there's, like, well, unless you want to know about, like, my favorite serial killers that, like, when I worked at the prison. But, and anemia possession. Andrew, I gotta look that up, actually. That's interesting. You started missing your old narcissism friend. Oh. I'm sorry. Well, and, like, here's the thing. I feel like it's okay. Like, I do want to say, it's, like, okay to miss them. But if you went no contact... I hate the term, though. I hate these fucking words for narcissist topics. But, like, if you went no contact for your own mental health, and that was the right decision, you can miss them and grieve that relationship without putting yourself back in harm's way. Anyways, okay. What the fuck was I answering? Serial killers. Yeah, so I would say that the one that fascinates me the most in terms of, like, just how... Yeah, like, see, that's the thing. Is that, like... I'm getting distracted from answering questions, but, yeah, that's the thing. It's, like, she was abusive physically. And so it's... And, like, even though that person hurt you, you can still kind of be like, okay, this is a very, again, you can grieve that relationship while also knowing the best thing for you is to keep your distance. Which is like hard because like I kind of had to go through that with my sister to a degree at one point when she was really bad in her drug addiction. Is I was like, okay, I miss my sister. I guess I love my sister. I hate saying that word, but also, I knew it was I couldn't like put myself through having contact with her again. I think it's healthy for people to grieve those kind of relationships. And be able to like really feel that like, oh, they feel like they lost something and they kind of have to do this in order to make sure that they're okay. Anyways. But yes. And then yeah, like the idea that like that made my week. I had no idea the term that made my week was real. Like I thought like 100. I was like shocked to learn that like people meant that literally. I was like, whoa. Anyways. But yeah, so favorite serial killers, keep forgetting. So Albert Fish, he's not my favorite serial killer, but I'm fascinated with him just because of like how like Merry Christmas to you too, by the way. How like he had this like I'm trying to think of a good way to put it. So Albert Fish was disgusting, first of all. Like I hated him. I hate him a lot. He's like terrible. But he's really interesting. One, just because okay, so for example, one of his crimes was he fucking murdered he murdered some kid and she then like cooked her and ate her. Horrible. I hate it. But he wrote a letter to the mom describing the crime. And I imagine the purpose of that was to like relive the murder and like brag about it almost and like vicariously causing more harm that he would find gratifying. But just the fact that like, oh my god, it's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. He literally wrote a letter to the mom describing the crime. And I will never forget one passage of the letter that he was like, don't worry, your daughter died a virgin. And I was like, that's fucked. And also, the mom was illiterate, so her son, the brother of the sister, had to read it to the mother. Like, there is something about that is like intriguing because of how disgusting it is. He also he did some weird shit. Like I remember he would self-harm a lot. Yeah, like I was about to talk about that. Yeah, he'd push needles into himself. And the fascinating thing about that is like he would put them in so deep that he would lose them. He would put it in like his pelvic region, like the soft tissue between like the hips. And he would push it in and he'd fucking lose the needles in there. When he was arrested, they x-rayed him for a medical exam. They found like over 40 needles in his pelvis like that. And like fucking disgusting and awful and horrible, but there's something just that really captures my attention about like something that dark, I suppose. I don't know if that makes sense at all. I hope it does. And then I would say, but if I like had to choose a favorable, but then like also kind of a cop-out answer, I also find Jeffrey Dahmer interesting just because of how so much of his murders were fueled by abandonment anxiety and like how he did have like a fucked up like child, well like not even that, well that's the thing, not even that fucked up, but like he had like a traumatic childhood I would say, but like not even that fucked up. And just how trauma can present like that and cause certain behaviors is also very interesting to me. And like he had like this like, I mean maybe he was lying, but from what I read, it seemed like he had like genuine remorse and didn't want to kill people, which is so bizarre. But yeah, Samantha, I need to watch Dahmer. Oh my gosh, I have a friend who I could probably watch that with. Let me message her real quick. I'll answer one more question and I'm done. Okay. All right, yeah, one more question, I'm done. Phew. Again, I'm going to try to get my fucking what's it called? My live streams going again. Just been I've been in such a dark place. It sucks. Actually, damn. Eyewitness. Fuck. I mean, that's like, that intrigues me. But yeah. Intelligence, some killers. Yeah, it's not even like, because it's not even like I'm not even like impressed or appreciate his intelligence. It's just like, it's like watching a car accident, you know? Like, he was like so fucking disgusting. And it's like hard to look away, and it like interests me because of that. I'm sorry I can't. Again, I want to do more, what's it called? Like, I do want to do more, I want to do more live streaming. I'm going to get back into live streaming on YouTube, just, again. Most love in the community. I think it's like, user account, I think it's like that's very common. I mean, it's like, reputation is everything, man. I try to do that. And I've also been guilty of like manipulating people despite that. I think that's extremely common. A wifey for lifey. I'm sorry? Yeah, this is fun. I forgot how much I like, because like I've done a lot of TikTok lives, but like on TikTok it's like question after question after question, just bam, 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 bam. And like this is like a lot more like I feel comfortable talking about what I want to talk about and not just answering as many narcissism questions as fast as I can. Yeah, my other one was way longer. So last year I wasn't with my family. This year I was with my sister and niece, and then also, like, yeah, it's stressful for everybody, exactly. I have like 2,000 people there, and I'm like, oh my god. And then like, as soon as like the viewer count starts dropping, I start panicking. But yeah, like, my other one was way longer, and that was on purpose. But this time I had stuff with my family, and now I made an obligation with somebody else. I need to spend some time with them, so. Thank you. I try to explain things well. Yeah, and it is stressful for everybody. Everybody likes fucking, even like the people in the stream, nobody gets their fucking comments read. I read like 1 out of every 100 comments in fucking TikTok because they're just going nuts. Sage, in fairness, that person that you're referring to is, if it's who I think it is, 99% sure, it's who I think it is, she's 14, so it's like, she's not being malicious, but also I'm like, I don't really want to encourage a 14-year-old flirting with me, because that's not good. Don't like that. Yeah, I mean, I didn't like it, but I was like, I didn't want to like, I don't want to be mean, but yeah, I don't know how to deal with that. I don't even want, like, that's why I just kind of ignore it. I'm like, yeah, fucking whatever. Yeah, I agree, Kevin. Like, oh, that's the thing. Like, I try so hard to like have a real like interaction with people, because it's beneficial because like one, it's like, okay, humanizing the disorder is one of my biggest goals, so that's beneficial. And then also, it's like, oh, there's like there can be a genuine sense of community, which is why I want to like start doing live streams again. It's just, ugh, I don't know. I didn't know it. Teach them it's not okay. Sage, you're right. I guess, honestly, you're correct. I just never really thought about it because I was always in I don't know. I just didn't know how to handle it, if I'm being honest. Anyways, okay. One more question. Fuck. Two wrongs don't make a right. I don't speak any foreign languages. I mean, I know a little German, I know a little Dutch, I know a little Latin. I do, like, oh my gosh, okay. I'm gonna rant about this. Ugh. Where did it go? Oh wait, where's my book? There it is. This is a super interesting book because I've wanted to like I wanted to learn Latin for so long, and like I found this book. I like get so distracted when I get like frustrated because syntax and languages I really fuck up. I find what's it called? What was I saying? Oh, I find linguistics like fascinating. Like I have like a lot of opinions regarding linguistics and certain, especially some language. Okay, that's a whole other thing. But basically, there's this book, and it's Lingua Latina. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, but it's really interesting because it's basically doing this thing called the natural method, where basically as you read the book, there's no English in it, but it gives you but basically as you read it, you are picking up the language as you would if you were like a child, like and it starts off like pretty simple. It's like Roma in Italia est, Italia in Europa est. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, by the way. I apologize. Grecia in Europa est. You kind of know what I'm saying, right? Roma in Italia est. Rome is in Italy. Pretty easy. Yeah, fuck yeah. Cluster milkshake. Sarah, wanna? Okay. I also know the Lord's Prayer in Old English. Fala ula thutau aten atadrum sia thina gararum twith becoming theden richan erden swan atadrum. That sounds like a demon. Anyways, Talia Eclereca in Europa sunt. And so you can like kind of piece together like sunt means like both these things or whatever. Hispania, I can't pronounce it. Not Cueca, but like Cuec. In Europa est, Hispania et Italia Eclereca in Europa sunt. And like as you go, you're picking up on a lot of these words and what their understanding is. And like to the point that you don't even need to fucking like do any direct translations. You're just reading it and learning Latin, and it's so fucking cool. Like just the way it's structured is so fascinating. The comprehensible input method. I am looking that up because that's the thing. I'm fascinated with languages, but I'm horrible at learning them. Like I like linguistics. I think like I read this book called. It was just like this book called Intro to Linguistics. It was very simplistic, but just it was so fascinating because it reconceptualized how I imagined language. Because it was like it like started like an example it gave that really stuck with me was Wait. Yo, okay. That's not okay. Time out. Anyways. But the so just give me. Okay. Yeah, that was timeout worthy. Don't threaten children. I don't like that. But anyways, there was like this example of what that he gave of basically imagine you have a kid and they give you a drawing, right? And it's like, you know, it's just like a picture of the happy family that they drew. Like that in itself is language, that it's conveying a meaning. And to me, reconceptualizing it as rather than the words themselves, but as the meaning that is intended to be conveyed, blew my mind. Like, especially like for what's it called? Like, I wish I could explain this better. It's been a long time since I thought about this. But yeah, it's just so interesting. I also read this one paper that, and Maddie, that's why I put her in timeout instead of just blocked her, because I'm like, yeah, but yeah, still. But like, and like how like people will talk about like, oh, like using double negatives, that's not proper English, and okay, technically correct, sure, but like in a lot of languages, double negatives are used to emphasize the point, like used to basically be like, it's used in a way that doesn't work how a double negative would in English, and like when. Sorry, I'm like distracted by like the conversation about the girl, and also I'm like trying to like recall things I haven't thought about for a long time. But it's like viewing language as like, oh, this very concrete thing that has to be spoken in a certain way. I started viewing language as just like, oh, anything that conveys meaning. And like what's super interesting too is a really good way to kind of experience that. No, you're fine, Sage. Don't apologize. I'm just like, I was also like, yeah, it's a lot. But, what was I saying? But like, what really illustrates the difference, like, what really illustrates this is, so apparently, I read this paper, allegedly, the areas of our brain that are associated with language are heavily connected to our motor functions, because our motor functions are very, like, because like basically like back when we were like apes, if you know that's the belief system, whatever, like the first real being able to convey thoughts was like pointing to something, right? And that's language right there, right? That's sign. That's a very rudimentary form of sign language, obviously. So you point to something, you're basically saying, hey, go like look at that, or go get that, or something like that. Like there could be so many meanings with just pointing to something, which is so fucking interesting. And this is supported, in at least in my experience, because I read this paper and I thought, well, if these aspects of our brain are that connected, it should be pretty easy to make a language, so to speak. And me and my best friend, we spent a half hour where we weren't allowed to talk and could only like communicate through like using our hands. And what was so interesting is it was fucking easy. Not easy, but it was like very doable for us to make our own language, our own unique sign language with each other that was just idiocentric? I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. To just me and him. We managed, like, and you would think that in a half hour, you couldn't convey any really complex thought. We managed to communicate with each other that, I mean, it was really stupid because we're dumb guys. Like, we're going to say stupid shit. But, like, we conveyed to each other that God is a hot furry woman, which was hilarious. Like, I remember, I'll never forget it because it's like, our word for, and like and it's so interesting because it really like stuck with me too. Our word for calling somebody like attractive was us doing this. And like we were able to make that without talking at all. It was so cool. Ugh. I'm pretty sure our word for God was just like pointing up. I'm trying to think about other things that it's been a long time. But it was it was super interesting. If you guys ever like are just hanging out with somebody and you're fucking bored, tell them that they can't talk for 30 minutes and try to make a sign language with each other, because it's so cool. It is so cool. Anyways. Ember, listen, I have fucking like spent my life finding people that will talk to me about this kind of shit. So, yeah. All right. Okay. I'm heading out. Raw. Our word for God was Jacob. That'd be fucking hilarious. Oh, Linda, what's going on, by the way? No, it was like really fun. We wanted to make it like a thing that we did progressively, but like we only had like 1 or 2 sessions where and then I had a similar. I did it twice. I did one with one friend and one with my best friend, and like the way that the languages developed were so distinct, but it was just so cool. But okay. I gotta leave now. I'm sorry. Hope you all have a good day. If you get a chance, find your, get your best friend, make a sign language together, because that'd be awesome. All right, I'll catch you guys.